Shay, why do you think it's a problem? Why do people end up having a disorder?
It comes from, in my opinion, so many different things. I think the most commonly known is social media. We're supposed to be very thin and fit. You know, it went from a few years ago just being super thin, and now you're supposed to be fit and thin. So you're supposed to be muscular, and you're supposed to be, these bodybuilding competitions are insane because they're influencing so many people to get healthy. But that healthy lifestyle goes down a bad road because you're supposed to look like this figure model on the cover of Oxygen. But what people don't know is she only looks like that for the day she's getting the pictures taken. Other than that, she looks like an average healthy woman. Another thing, I think where it came from with me is watching your parents or watching people you look up to who are very insecure about themselves. My mother was an amazing woman, but she was very insecure about herself. I remember when I was 13, she was on a diet where she would eat 1 meal a day. And I was like, can I do this, Mom? And she's like, well, yeah, sure, why not? She didn't see the health, you know, she didn't see how bad it was for you. It was just, people think calories in versus calories out, and they don't think about what goes into it. So I think number one would be social media. Another one would be your peers and seeing how they look at themselves. I know for myself, my younger sister looks up to me. I look in the mirror, and if I'm like, oh, I'm so fat, then she goes and looks at herself and says, I'm so fat, you know? So I think that's probably the number two. So I did a fitness competition last year, and that was probably the first time that the diet was a huge part of it. Before, I'd had other problems where I would take, I don't know if you've ever heard of Epicac syrup. It makes you throw up. So in high school, dance team, you're supposed to be thin. You know, so a lot of the girls were naturally just very thin, and I'm shorter, stockier, so I would eat a lot, and then I would take that, and it'd come right back up, and kind of got into a bad habit of that. So for the fitness competition, it was all about nutrition and health, supposedly. So we would weigh everything out from weighing 1 ounce of spinach with, you know, 3 ounces of chicken and 2 tablespoons of brown rice. It got to the point where mentally I couldn't function as well because I was so restrictive on my diet. And then it gets to the point where you notice how even sodium makes you retain water. And like Stu talked about with the body dysmorphia disorder, you look in that mirror and you see a little bit of water retention, and to you that's 10 pounds. To you, you're failing as a person, you know. So I've definitely been on the very, very strict end of dieting, and I think it's a big problem in the fitness industry actually, is people over-dieting. I know plenty of people who will wear the heart rate monitor all day. They get on every single day to put it in the computer, see how many calories they're burning, and they'll take what would seem healthy measures, you know, parking 10 blocks down so they walk that many more steps, but then it gets to the point where they're overdoing everything. So yes, I would say 100% that's a factor, as well as like, I don't know if you've heard of like cardio anorexia, where people will, or bulimia, cardio-bulimia, so people will binge and then they'll go spend 3 hours on the treadmill just to make sure that they got all those calories burned off. It's not a healthy thing, but it's definitely something that happens. Coming to terms with yourself and who you are, just defining your goals, and also the biggest thing that's helped me overcome the many eating disorders I've kind of put myself through is education. Learning how nutrition and exercise can play into a healthy lifestyle, what starvation does to your body, how it negatively influences everything, from your body to your physical appearance, and most importantly, mentally. So I think if people would just take the time, even, you know, public education would take the time to educate people on how great food is for you, and how if you eat clean, healthy fuel, you're going to live a healthy lifestyle. So that's probably the most important.
It seems like eating disorders are still a problem.
In every shade of gray and every kind of extreme, absolutely. You just have to go to a bodybuilding show to see people who are not happy with their bodies going to extreme examples of making these sacrifices with foods to try and get to the lowest, leanest levels. There's nothing healthy about a bodybuilding show. There's nothing healthy to the extremes that some people come and put themselves through in the gym. In fact, as a trainer, my main job is to actually help people figure out the healthiest way they can reach their goals without going to extremes, to reach this good lifestyle habit that they can maintain for the rest of their life. I got beat up all the time when I was a little kid. And so when you're the shortest kid in school, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade, like, you know, graduated at 113 pounds, you tend to, at some point in your life, overcompensate from that. You think to yourself, I'll do whatever it takes to be bigger. And I remember it was like 1999, I was 24 years old. I decided that was it. And I started doing some things that I'm not necessarily proud of today. I played around with some hormones. I ate everything under the sun. A good example was I ate 10 eggs in the morning, 2 glasses of milk, piece of toast, then 6 chicken breasts during the day and 6 yams to go with it, then a dinner when I came home and a protein shake before bed, just eating, eating, eating. And I ate my way all the way to 230 pounds. And finally, this magic happens in your 30s that should happen to everybody, where you're like, wow, I think I'm really starting to like myself, and you get comfortable in your own skin and you realize you're actually okay. And so all of a sudden you start to regulate the things you eat and try and normalize the things you eat to where you've got this really good balance where you love yourself, and it shows with your lifestyle habits and choices too. And think about how many people who hate their own voice on the telephone, right? And everyone else is like, no, that's your voice and it's a beautiful voice. And they're like, ew, ew, I don't like it. If everybody saw themselves as we see them, they'd feel really comfortable in their own skin. But everybody hates themselves in some sort of little way, or has something that they want to improve. In fact, look at the gym. The gym's full of us. We're always trying to change something about ourselves. And I think a big step is at some point people realizing that they're just fine just the way they are. They don't need to make great big sweeping changes. In fact, a lot more energy should be kept, trying to love yourself and accept yourself just the way you are. I would really encourage people to pay a little bit more time and attention to finding a good balance between nutrition and exercise. But more important than anything else, it's not how you look, it's not how you dress, it's not how your body is, it's how you feel about yourself from the inside out that shows. So I would encourage people to spend a little bit more time getting right with themselves. And then the exercise and the food, that's all good. But don't make it the most important thing in your life.
It's balance, right?
Balance.